Hello everyone, this is CJ with Cyclotron. For this video, I wanted to explore Harley Davidson's anniversary, 120th anniversary of their operations starting in 1903. It is a significant milestone for any company, but we got to look past that a little bit. And yes, I hope to those of you who are going to the headquarters into this week and this weekend, have a good time. I want to look forward ahead to see what the next few years might hold for Harley Davidson and talk about some of their big challenges. I've discussed several of these in past videos. This is just sort of an overview video, but Harley Davidson is in a tough position. They need to maximize their profit, which they've been doing for the last several years, but it seems to be done at the exclusion of new customers, younger customers. They're certainly not growing the brand. So what are they going to do? At some point, it's like riding a horse. You can only ride it so far before you have to change horses, and they haven't really changed horses yet. I mean, I did a video about the 440X motorcycle that's made in India. I suggested this in the video, and many of you agreed that Harley Davidson should offer that Indian-made motorcycle for sale in the United States to entry-level riders. But as many of you pointed out, and I think probably correctly, Harley's all about preserving their high margins, roughly $3,700 profit per motorcycle. So if they sold a $4,500, $5,000 motorcycle, that's going to really drop the average on their unit profit per motorcycle. So they may be disinclined to do that. And of course, they've got their Livewire operation, separate company, but Harley Davidson owns 90% of their stock. And it seems to me, I've given this more thought, if Harley does not introduce an internal combustion engine smaller bike like the 440X, or even the 350 or 500cc bikes that are made in China for sale in the United States for entry-level riders, it seems like they're going to put all their eggs in the electric vehicle basket. That is their Livewire division with the Del Mar model, which is around $15,000. It was going to be $17,000, but they dropped the price to around $15,000. They're only selling a few dozen of those every quarter, so they're well short of their 100,000 EV motorcycles that they had planned to sell in just a few years. So that's loss of money, and that Livewire company has really been a drag on Harley Davidson's profitability. So what are the big picture challenges that Harley has? So I've mentioned lack of new riders. They're not growing the market. They switched from trying to be all over the world and introducing a lot of young motorcycle riders into the brand to, again, maximizing profit. That seems to be mostly with people that are 60 and older, maybe some 50 and older, but it seems like these days most of the people that I know who ride and enjoy Harley Davidson motorcycles are well over the age of 50. So I don't see how a company like that has much of a future. Now, a lot of you have correctly pointed out in the comments that, well, Harley Davidson's been around for 120 years. Their demise has been predicted incorrectly many times already, and that's true. But, Sears went out, JCPenney went out. There's a lot of companies that have been around for 100 plus years that didn't make it, to 120 and beyond. So also you add the fact that Harley Davidson's management, their CEO, has said that they plan to discontinue production of internal combustion engine motorcycles by the year 2050. For touring bikes, there's no really viable EV option at this point. So I don't know if they're counting on the development of future technology, improvement in batteries. But at this point, there's not much demand for EVs at all in terms of motorcycles, particularly those for a touring application. They just don't have the range. I mean, with their top of the line Livewire 1 that they came out with, it was $30,000, and then it's down to $22,000. They finally discounted it, but effectively it has a range of maybe 120 miles, which is pretty short. So there's that challenge as well. And then the thing looming over Harley more than anything is their $5 billion in debt to corporate bondholders, institutional bondholders. So interest has gone up. They're discounting the sale of motorcycles, not the price that you pay for the bike, but they're offering in many cases, if you got fairly decent credit, much lower interest rates than market conditions would otherwise dictate. So clearly Harley's subsidizing those lower interest rates. So that's one form of discount. And that's a new development, but they've had to do something because the high interest rates were really killing off a lot of sales. I mean, there's just so much magic they can work with somebody with problematic credit or just a high monthly payment, no matter how much money they make, with high interest rates, with charges well over MSRP that the dealers and even Harley Davidson are adding to the price of a bike. So you've got all that in play. And then really there's two types of Harley Davidson rider. They all enjoy the experience of riding a Harley Davidson motorcycle, but you have those who won't set foot in a dealership and would never buy a new Harley Davidson motorcycle for a variety of reasons, and instead rely on buying older Harley Davidson motorcycles and then customizing them to their own needs. And then you've got the buyer of the new Harley Davidson motorcycles that Harley's really trying to cater to, and those are folks with a lot of money, a lot of disposable income. So right now they've got a production stoppage. It's, to my knowledge, hasn't been lifted. They've got limited production at their York, Pennsylvania plant. That started in early June. It was supposed to end at the end of June. I've daily looked at news sources and haven't seen any announcement that they've resumed normal production at that plant. So that indicates that maybe they're doing that to try and relieve some of the congestion and excess inventory that they're having with new motorcycles at their dealerships across the country. So I mentioned dealerships. There is a changing of the guard. So Harley's moving away from their traditional customer. They're going to have to switch horses, like I said, at some point. That market's just going to be gone, the older rider. They'll age out and or worse. So the other issue pressing down on Harley is that many people hate the dealership experience. And in fact, it's gotten worse because Harley Davidson as a company has promoted the mega dealer, the car ownership groups that own multiple car dealerships, multiple Harley dealerships. They prefer those folks over the mom and pop. And the reason is those people have the 50,000 plus square foot showrooms. They'll take on every new venture that Harley comes up with, whether it's Livewire or there's a new build out afoot, this fuel initiative. And not a lot of details have been forthcoming on that, but my guess is it's going to be something akin to Starbucks meets Harley Davidson and turn these motorcycle dealerships into cafes. And that may play into their EV move, because if you've got a nice place for people to hang out, it makes it easier to buy an electric bike, get it charged at the dealership while you're hanging out doing other things. So that may be part of what they're trying to do. We'll see. So again, to recap, older customers are leaving motorcycling. It's a limited group. It gets smaller each year. Younger riders really aren't coming into the brand. In fact, a lot of younger riders aren't riding at all. People in the younger demographic aren't riding at all. So in fact, they don't really see motorcycling as a lifestyle. They see it as practical transportation in some cases. So Harley has their work cut out for them. They want to be a premium brand. They want to be a luxury brand. And most premium luxury brands that I know of have a large following with the young demographic, and Harley just doesn't have that. So if I were to estimate how long Harley's going to be around in its current configuration, and that is as a publicly traded company, I'd give them at most 3 years. I think they're going to end up in a near bankruptcy situation, and they're going to sell out to private equity, something of that nature, or get absorbed by a much, much larger company, sort of like how Volkswagen Group has bought all these auto companies. They own Ducati. If Harley could get away from the short-term obsession with near-term profits, I think they'll have the freedom to make more strategic moves and really grow in a direction that they need to sustain them for many years to come. But I'd be interested in what your thoughts are on this. How many more years do you think Harley can make it? I mean, it seems pretty implausible that they'll be selling motorcycles 120 years from now, and they'll be a 240th or 250th anniversary. I guess, according to my speculation, there won't be the 125th anniversary model coming out for Harley Davidson. The 120th is going to be it. And especially if there's a recession that so far has been elusive, fortunately, but it's probably coming in some form or fashion. And even if interest rates stay high without a near-term recession, that may be enough to put the kibosh on Harley being able to make their loan payments due to inadequate cash flow. So again, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching this video, and please stay tuned for future videos.